Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon news update on Panic and Rehab. My name's Tim T. Skillett. I'll be with you today, just going over some top news for this afternoon, kind of get your afternoon going right after lunch, and then start the rest of the half of your day. Make sure you turn in your taxes. Taxes are due today. Got to have them postmarked by today's signature, or you got to file a extension. Get the payments in, but you still got to pay what you owe if you file an extension today. So, all right, story number one: Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez, both congressmen, a congressman out of California and Tony Gonzalez out of Texas, a Republican and a Democrat, resigned from Congress yesterday. Day three of the U.S. blockage of Iranian ports. No ships allowed in or exit Iranian ports. Iran threatens to block shipping beyond the Straits of Hormuz if U.S. blockage continues. The Revolutionary Guard leader, General Ali Abdullah, said Iran forces will attempt to block any exports or imports to continue in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman and the Red Sea. U.S. naval forces have stopped 9 oil tankers in the first 48 hours of the blockade entering or exiting Iran ports. President Trump said that the U.S. would take Iran enriched uranium if necessary. He moved 6,000 more troops to the Middle East. So far, U.S. has 50,000 plus these new 6,000 military personnel in the region. President Trump promises Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and we're going to get the materials that make a nuclear weapon back. Washington, D.C. insiders say if the war continues with Iran, the China-U.S. meeting might not happen at the end of May. Beijing's growing increasingly dissatisfied with U.S. aggressive military campaign. It's hard to imagine how Washington, D.C. Deep state wants China and U.S. relations to spin out of control, and they want Trump out of office and out of Iran. It's amazing. Governor Spanberger, she's the Virginia new governor, the moderate governor, the moderate Democrat who said, I will be the governor of Virginia and rule moderately, just signed new Virginia gun bills, making proposed gun ban even harsher. Yesterday, Abigail Spanberger, aka Snow Queen, signed a series of gun control bills toughening a proposal assault firearms and likely draw constitutional objections from the Justice Department. House Bill 217 and Senate Bill 749 removes the word fix. The word is fix that they removed from the law from parts of the bill defining of an assault firearm, which could sharply expand the range of semi-automatic rifles and pistols swept into the ban. This change, the word fix, creates a ban on any firearm that can accept a magazine of more than 15 rounds. So good luck in Virginia. Deputies in LA arrest a 6-year-old Arizona man they saw running through traffic near Trump National Golf Course in Ranchero Palos Verdes, California, while carrying a loaded rifle painted to look like a toy and wearing a heavy-duty ballistic vest. Sean Steiner of Glendale, Arizona, hiking in the area with a duffel bag, a step stool, and a rifle. So I checked. There's nothing on the schedule for President Trump to be at the Trump National Golf Course, but Jonkett's 2 golf courses are not part of the presidential schedules. So you never know. I mean, he might have been out there scheduled this weekend or the next couple of weekends to play golf out there. Who knows? Vice President J.D. Vance, anti-fraud task force suspends 447 hospice in Los Angeles over more than $600 million in suspected fraud. Also suspended 23 home health agencies. That's a 539% increase on suspected fraud in California. Now, all at the same time. Okay, so in the last month, you had Nick Shirley leave Minnesota after exposing the daycare fraud, after exposing the Feed the Kids program, um, also exposing the autism fraud for services for autistic kids. Remember how that was increased by 1,000,000% on autistic kids? I mean, if that was the case, nobody would travel to Minnesota and everybody would be wearing biosuits if you had that many autistic kids, right? That much of a percentage increase. So Nick and David exposed all that in Minneapolis, and it's been traumatic. Well, Nick goes out to California and it quickly exposed a hospice fraud. All right. So California is trying to pass a a bill that would criminalize investigation journalists with misdemeanors, with a misdemeanor, a $10,000 fine, imprisonment, and the contents taken down. So Nick Shirley, an independent journalist known for exposing Minnesota fraud of what I just said, um, he's gone out to California, quickly exposed hospice. You have J.D. Vance anti-fraud task force suspending 447 hospice in Los Angeles and 23 home health agencies, right? And you have this California Assembly woman, Mia Bonta, Bonta, who is the wife of California's Attorney General, Rob Bonta, introduces this bill called the criminalization of investigation journalists who expose fraud in California with a misdemeanor, $10,000 fine, imprisonment, and contents taken down. So I guess California doesn't want their massive fraud to be exposed, and wants to intimidate journalists, independent journalists like Nick Shirley. It's amazing. It's amazing. President Trump sends a letter to Xi of China not to send any more arms to Iran. Xi replied to Trump that he's not doing that. Trump replied to his message back to Xi to look up. Okay. Residents repel against a town, South Hadley, Massachusetts, because South Hadley, Massachusetts wants to increase property taxes by 50%. South Hadley officials argue that the hike is necessary to keep pace with the sharply rising expenses. Without additional revenues, local services from school programs to public safety could face cuts. So what South Hadley, Massachusetts officials are failing to mention is that South Hadley residents, to the South Hadley residents, is that during COVID, they all received bailout money. Okay, so pretty much every municipality in the country, through a $2 trillion spending bill that Democrats passed, gave money out for COVID. Okay. And that was to help the shortfall because people, had to stop work. They were staying at home. The schools closed. Kids were being taught by computers. Computers, teachers through computer programs at their homes. So there was this $2 trillion that was passed out to all the different municipalities. Well, the COVID emergency has ended, but these municipalities, they don't want to give up on that COVID money. They spent money on additional personnel. They spent money on programs. They spent money on increasing like city halls and fire department facilities, more cops, bigger jails, bigger police facilities, and they don't want to stop spending. So what are they going to do? They got to increase their revenue flow. So they can do that by tickets. They can do that by fees. Like if you have to build a building permit, they can double, triple the fees for that. Fees and taxes on water, fees and taxes on electrical, and just property taxes. So you get used to it. I mean, if you're a senior citizen, you're on fixed income, you can't take a 50% increase on property tax. It's impossible. And then some people are grandfathered in. So you got to watch, because these municipalities are going to get really slick. They're going to rezone different areas and maybe charge a higher tax rate because you're not going to be grandfathered in anymore. You're going to have to really watch what's going on in your local municipalities because they're coming for you and they're going to make you pay because they don't want to give up on that COVID money. So far, over 53 million tax filers claim that Trump's signature tax cut as average refunds jumped 11%. Unfortunately, everyone is paying that 11% that they have newfound money and higher gas prices because of the Iranian conflict. Here's some sad news. There was a huge fire last week in California. The Kimberly-Clark 1.2 million square foot distribution warehouse in Ontario, California caught fire. And Kimberly-Clark makes some of the best, finest paper products in the world. Toilet paper, paper towels, all kind of things made of paper, anything and everything made of paper. And a disgruntled worker was arrested for arson starting a $500 million warehouse inferno. So not only is arson dangerous, it's also costly. $500 million warehouse is gone. The firefighters that had to fight this fire were placed in danger. The fumes and the smoke that came off of this fire put millions in danger, all because of one disgruntled worker. And he was mad because he didn't feel he got enough money. He didn't get paid enough. Well, now he doesn't have a job. I mean, why do they need workers at a warehouse that's gone, right? They won't be hiring anybody there for years until they get the warehouse rebuilt and then make product enough to put in a warehouse to distribute. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Speaking of other things that don't make any sense, the Karen Bass signed Los Angeles ordinance mandating a $30 minimum wage for hotel airport workers by 2028. They increased it to $20 last year, and they saw a reduction in workforce by 6% because they started automating services in the hotel and airport. Okay, maybe you haven't traveled in a while, but if you have, probably saw a lot of kiosks. You can check in through a kiosk, place your baggage on the belt. It weighs it, puts it onto the it prints out a sticker. You put that on your bag, and all of a sudden your luggage is going bye-bye without any human touching it. That's the greatest thing about the kiosks. Well, they're going to be so as soon as Karen Bass signed this ordinance mandating $30 minimum wages for hotel airport workers, hotel industry lost 650 jobs. Hotels are using computer screens to check in people into rooms, automatic issuing you a key. You go to the hotel restaurant or bar, you can place a food or drink order without a waitress. You just do it by kiosk, and your drink comes to your table. So a bad week for unemployed hotel workers. Now they get $0 per hour. So forget the $20 per hour. Forget the $16 minimum wage that went up to $20 that now has gone up to $30 because they don't got a job. So what did it get anybody? What did it get them? It got them a computer or an automation, AI that can do your job. So be careful what you wish for. Karen Bass. So hopefully Karen Bass has 650 jobs to pass out to these folks that they'll get paid more, get paid at least, $20 minimum wage or at least $16 minimum wage. Well, anyway, that's the afternoon news update. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. Happy